Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is the latest installment in a massively popular Demon Slayer anime franchise, and it's the first in the series of films that will bring the story to its long-awaited conclusion. Serving as a cinematic adaptation of the early parts of the final arc, Infinity Castle throws us headfirst into an escalating war between the Demon Slayer Corps and Muzan's elite forces. The movie culminates in a major showdown between our main hero and one of Muzan's top-ranking Upper Moon demons, setting the stage for even more intense battles to come. Since its debut in 2019, Demon Slayer has become known for its stunning animation, emotional storytelling, and high-stakes action, but it also leaned heavily into some familiar shonen tropes that not everyone loves. With Infinity Castle, the series continues to walk that line, delivering breathtaking visuals and epic moments while also carrying over some of the storytelling patterns that have been more hit or miss for me. I'll be breaking down my thoughts on Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, what works, what doesn't, and whether or not it lives up to the hype, all without any major spoilers. Let's dive in. Like I mentioned, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle adapts a portion of the Infinity Castle arc from the manga, one of the final most action-heavy sections of the story. The plot kicks off following a failed assassination attempt on Muzan, the series' main antagonist. In retaliation, Muzan pulls the entire Demon Slayer Corps into his domain, a surreal, constantly shifting fortress known as the Infinity Castle. It's a place where space bends, logic breaks down, and danger is around every corner. Right from the jump, the movie kicks into high gear and doesn't let up. There's not much in the way of traditional story build-up. Instead, it throws you straight into the action. Most of the film is focused on non-stop high-stakes battles as the main characters are split up and forced to fight against Muzan's top demons. So structurally, the film feels more like a series of boss fights rather than an tightly plotted narrative. That's not necessarily a bad thing, it keeps the tension high and the energy up. But if you're someone who's looking for character-driven moments or deeper plot development, you might find this installment a bit thin in that department. That said, what we do get in between these intense action scenes are numerous flashbacks. These dive into the tragic past of the Upper Moon demons, giving us insight into how they became the monsters they are and what still haunts them. In some cases, these backstories are genuinely moving and add emotional depth to otherwise terrifying enemies, like with the last fight of the movie. Other times, they feel like interruptions, slowing down the momentum of the battle for a formula we've seen again and again in this series. Villain fights, villain loses, villain gets a tragic flashback. Infinity Castle delivers a relentless sequence of battles with some emotional beats sprinkled in, but the story itself is more of a backdrop than a driving force. The real driving force behind Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is, without question, the fights. In a previous video, I talked about how animated battles tend to fall into two general categories: choreography-based and effects-based. Choreography-based fights are all about precision and flow. Every punch, kick, and sword strike is tightly connected with clear spatial logic and dance-like rhythm. Think of something like Naruto vs Sasuke or some of the best fights in JJK, where you can feel the weight and intention behind every move. Then there's the effects-based style, and this is where Demon Slayer firmly plants its flag. These battles prioritize spectacle above all else. Each attack isn't just a move, it's a moment. A single sword slash can be accompanied by a burst of elemental energy, a tidal wave of color, or a dragon made of fire spiraling across the stream. It's about making every action look breathtaking. And with Infinity Castle, Ufotable doubles down on this approach, and honestly, they absolutely go off. The animation team pulls out every trick in the book. Breathing styles explode with elemental energy, the environments twist and collapse in impossible ways, and every major clash is treated like a full-blown cinematic event. There are scenes in this movie where you could pause at any moment and end up with something that looks like a desktop wallpaper. This is peak Ufotable. Their signature blend of 2D and 3D animation, dynamic lighting, and intense compositing gives the film some surreal visuals. And while that might not be everyone's taste, especially if you prefer more grounded fight scenes, there's no denying the sheer technicality on display, and it definitely has that appeal that Demon Slayer always had. Overall, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle showcases Ufotable at some of their absolute best when it comes to breathtaking visuals. The action is intense, creating some truly memorable moments. However, the pacing suffers due to an over-reliance on flashbacks, often inserted right in the middle of key battle, which disrupts the momentum and emotional impact, while the final flashback hits the mark and adds meaningful depth. Many of the others could have been better placed in earlier arcs where they could have felt more organic. Despite these issues, it's still an enjoyable experience for fans, and I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10.